Hello my sweets, it's Keisha. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all safe and well. It's Friday collab day, so I'm back with another one. And it's a trash to treasure. I rescued this little table as it was on its way to the dumpster, and the transformation is unbelievable. So when you're done watching my video, check out the playlist in the description box below to see what my friends created. Are you ready to see some magic? Let's go! To begin, I used these paint sticks to make a shelf for my table. These were in my stash. However, they can be purchased at Home Depot for 98 cents a pack. I started out by making a template for the shelf. I wanted to make sure it was going to come out to the right size. I laid out the 5-gallon sticks to make sure I would have enough for all that I wanted to do. I had 12 5-gallon sticks total, and I used 8 for the shelf. Once I decided on the layout, I took the sticks outside to cut them down. Fast forward, and here are the sticks cut to size. I then took my sanding sponge and smoothed the edges. Now it's time to put the shelf together. I relaid the sticks out on the template, and I just eyeballed the spacing. I used a combination of wood glue and hot glue to attach the sticks together. Once the glue had set up for a bit, I decided I needed to place the brackets that would hold the shelf up. To do this, I put mason jars in the corners of the table and laid the shelf on top. Then I marked the corners with a Sharpie. An alternative to the mason jars are canned foods or paint jars, as long as they are the same height. I laid the table on its side and glued 2 tumbling tower blocks on each corner of the legs. Then reinforced them with more hot glue. When complete, I set the table aside for the glue to dry. Next, I used Waverly Wax and Antique and a baby wipe to stain the front and back of the shelf. I ended up doing 2 coats on the front and 1 on the back. When I was done, I set it aside to dry. I started out painting the table with Waverly chalk paint in Ivory. After I painted the second coat and let it dry overnight, I noticed that there was bleed through. So I switched to this Krylon Color Master spray paint in Almond and gave it a couple coats. Once that was dry, I came back in with the Ivory chalk paint and dry brushed the bottom of the table. Next, I installed the shelf. Again, I'm using a combination of wood glue and hot glue. That moment when you are struggling to open a bottle of glue that is already open. When I was done, I decided to stain the top while the shelf dried. I'm using Waverly Wax and Antique and a baby wipe. I'm not sure how many coats I did. I just kept adding layers until I was happy with the color. I wanted to make my shelf look a little beefier, so I cut down 8 of the smaller mixing sticks to go around the edge. After I cut and sanded them, I applied the Waverly Antique Wax. I also decided to stain the handles that were cut from the larger 5-gallon stir sticks. I spray painted the last 4 5-gallon stir sticks I had to add the X design feature. Here I'm trying to demonstrate how I'm going to cut the sticks to fit inside the legs. I'm basically marking the stick where I think it will fit once I cut it. I cut both ends of all 4 sticks at a 45-degree angle. After they were cut, I dry brushed the sticks with Ivory chalk paint to match the table and set them aside to dry. I pieced the smaller sticks together to fit around the shelf. I'll admit, I'm not a huge fan of this, but I'm using what I have. I'm going to tack them on using just hot glue. My plan is to replace them later with single pieces of wood. Next, I installed the X's using a combination of wood glue and hot glue. Once I completed this step, I set the whole table aside to dry. I want to encourage you all to stay safe and well. If you want to do this project, use what you have at home. Look around with your creative eye and mind for things to use. If all else fails, order online or just save this project for later. I have these flatback jewels from Dollar Tree that I thought would make the perfect nail heads, so I painted 16 of them using Waverly chalk paint in Elephant. Once they were dry, I glued the jewels to the top and bottom of the paint stick handles. You already know I'm all about the details, so I took apple barrel acrylic paint in burnt umber and created some rust around the nail heads. When I was done painting the rest, I let them dry and then sealed them with a matte acrylic sealer. The final step in this transformation is to add the paint handle detail. I'm using a combination of wood glue and hot glue. Stay tuned to see how I styled my new farmhouse side table, and let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to check out the link to the playlist in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and leave me a comment below. If you'd like to see more, subscribe to my channel and select all notifications so you don't miss my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, love, inspire, create. See you next time.